All set.
Wonderful. Good morning. The Hearing Board of the South Coast Air Quality Management District is in session. Today is January 20th, 2021. The time is 9:00 a.m. and we are meeting remotely via Zoom, given the current pandemic and the stay-at-home orders still in place in the state of California. We have two matters on our regular calendar today, and those are night cleaners, case number 6194-1 for a regular variance, and Beltone cleaners, case number 6207-1, also for a regular variance. And then this afternoon, the chair has a pre-hearing teleconference in the matter of Booster Fuels, Inc. And so if we are not done with our calendar by that time, we will take a short break so that we can have that pre-hearing conference and come back. I'm going to take the matters in order as they are and as they have appeared. But first, I want to just make sure to introduce the members of the board so that those who are appearing before us today, since we're not in our hearing board room, are familiar with who they are actually speaking with. I am the chair and attorney member of the hearing board, Julie Prusak, and with us we have our vice chair and engineer member, Mohan Balagopalan. We also have our medical member, Dr. Alan Bernstein. We have the Honorable Senator Nate Holden, who is a member of the board with us as well, and Ms. Cynthia Verdugo Peralta, who is the fifth member of our board. And who is here today representing our first petitioner, Night Cleaners?
I am.
Okay, wonderful. And can you tell us your name and spell it for the record today?
Marilyn Delgato, that's MarilynDelgato.
Thank you, Ms. Delgato. And are you the owner or what is your position?
I'm the owner of Night Cleaners.
Wonderful. And who is representing the district executive officer today?
Ryan Tomasovic, Senior Deputy District Counsel for the Executive Officer.
Okay. I'm going to assume that this matter will take at least an hour. In the past, these types of matters have taken longer than an hour. But let's say an hour for our second matter. So you can continue to be present and watch how this hearing goes. But you can also turn off your camera and your microphone and leave for at least an hour and check back in and make sure that we're ready for your case. Ms. Delgato, board members, you will see that over the weekend, I created a 3-page document which was designed to help the petitioners in these many dry cleaner cases to understand who the board is and how the process goes, as well as the 6 findings. And Ms. Delgato, did you receive that?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I did.
Okay. So the way we're going to conduct our hearing today is we're going to start with you. Just going to ask you for a brief opening statement of what you're asking from the board today. I'm going to go to Mr. Tomasovic, who's going to do the same, and then we'll come back to you and you'll be able to present your full case and present many documents that you've presented to us and everything else that you might want to tell the board, and we'll likely all ask questions of you. And then the district may or may not present witnesses as well. Then we'll close the hearing and then we'll deliberate and we'll take a vote today. So first, there are many documents, as I mentioned, but I'd like to start marking these documents. Ms. Delgato came very well prepared and we appreciate that. I'm going to start, since there are 2 documents that were also attached to the petition of Night Cleaners. I'm going to just mark those. So the first one that was attached to the petition was the permit, And I'm going to mark that as exhibit number 1. In addition, there is a letter dated November 9th, 2020 from Arthur Kajiwara Equipment Company, Inc., and I'm going to mark that as exhibit number 2 for petitioner. Petitioner also sent a number of other documents. There is a proposal by Arthur Kajiwara Equipment Company, which shows that on November 19th, 2020, there was a deposit of $25,000 made. I'm going to mark that as exhibit number 3. Has an October 23rd date on it. In addition, there is a sales analysis. It says United Fabricare Supply Inc. on top, current and history files with regard to PERC, purchase of PERC, and I'm going to mark that as exhibit number 4. The petitioner has also presented us with a poundage of items dry cleaned using PERC, and it's a chart, and I'm going to mark that 1-page chart and explanation as exhibit number 5. And finally, for petitioner, they have presented a chart entitled Losses in COVID-19 Timeframe. And I'm going to mark that as exhibit number 6 for petitioner. We also received from the district proposed regular variance conditions. And I'm going to mark that as exhibit A as an apple. And board members, I hope you saw that. It came under an email that was sent to us, which also included the ones for our second matter today. And this one is for night cleaners.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I clarify what's your exhibit number 2?
Exhibit number 2 was attached, I'll show it to you, was attached to the petition. We also got another copy of it, but it was very hard to read. It was a
I see, okay.
very small photo, but this was exhibit number 2.
Okay.
Letter from Arthur Kajiwara Equipment Company. And the explanation, and I'm sure we'll hear more about this from Ms. Delgado, was with the new delivery date.
Thank you.
And with that, I am going to ask anyone, including Ms. Delgado, who wishes to give testimony today, to please raise your right hand, turn on your camera if it's not already on, to be sworn in. Do you promise under penalty of perjury, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, so with that, Ms. Delgado, if you would like to give us a brief opening statement of your position at this time.
Well, good morning, Madam Chair and board members. And as I stated before, my name is Marilyn Delgato, and I'm the owner of Night Cleaners. And I am requesting a variance to Rule 1421, allowing us to have the use of our PERC machine until the non-PERC K4 machine that we ordered is installed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tomasovic, your opening statement today, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. At this time, we take no position. If at the conclusion of hearing evidence, we find ourselves to not oppose the issuance of a variance, we did come up with some proposed conditions that would be that we would be insisting on, and that is Exhibit A, or marked as Exhibit A. And we do not intend to call any witnesses, but we do have witnesses from the district that are on hand should the board have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen very quickly. This will be, can everyone see that? This is the handout that I had sent to petitioners, but I wanted to in particular turn to the third page Just so, Ms. Delgato, as you present any other statements or evidence you wish for us to consider today, we just quickly go over the 6 findings that we're looking for today. Findings that we are required to make before we can grant a variance in accordance with the Health and Safety Code of California. The first one is that there is a violation of section of a rule or regulation, and in this case, it would be 1421. That's pretty straightforward. The second one is what we spend a lot of our time on, and that is we need to make sure that the violation, any violation which would result in an arbitrary or unreasonable taking of property or the practical closing and elimination of your business, was beyond your reasonable control, beyond the reasonable control petitioner and night cleaner. And I'm going to jump down here because when we're determining beyond reasonable control, there are a number of factors we take into consideration, also in accordance with the Health and Safety Code. First of all, we look at actions that might have been taken by you and your cleaners since 1421 was adopted, and that was back in 2002. But also, since you are a small business, we take 2 other very important considerations into account. Number one is it's worded as the reasons for any claimed ignorance of the requirement from which the variance is sought. Essentially, what we're looking for there is when did you actually know or should have known about the requirement of stopping your use of PERC in December. And then finally, also your financial and other capabilities to comply. And I'm going to stop the show. Oh, sorry. I'm going back up here to the 6 findings. The third finding we need to make is that any harm to you, the closing or taking of your property, meaning losses, would be without a corresponding benefit in reducing air contaminants. And here, of course, we're considering the fact that PERC is a toxic air contaminant. Then we need to see that you took steps to consider curtailing your operations instead of receiving a variance today or requesting a variance. And that is there other options you could do? Sending your cleaner somewhere else, etc. We also need to see that you're looking to reduce excess emissions of PERC to the maximum extent feasible. And finally, that you're monitoring levels of PERC if you are granted a variance. I'm going to stop the share there. I know that's a lot to take in, but if you want to just walk us through what brought you to this point today and the many helpful documents that you submitted as well.
Well, since the pandemic started, or when it started, we had 6 employees at that time, and we immediately furloughed 5 of them because we were unsure what would happen to our business. And as of now, just my manager and I are working in the plant. We've reduced our business hours from Monday through Friday. We used to be open from 7 till 6. And now we're only open Monday through Friday from 8 until 1. Before the pandemic, we would dry clean 4 to 5 days a week, maybe 2 to 3 loads. And we have, since March 2020, we're only dry cleaning 1 day a week, maybe 1 to 2 loads, not very much. And our company offers we have a shirt laundry service, and we do table linens, bed linens. We specialize in wedding gowns. We clean band uniforms and household items. And that's about it. I mean, I did find out, well, my son was actually the owner manager of the store. And in the past few years, he came down with a serious illness. And since his treatment, he has been unable to work there. So now I'm the sole owner. He did mention to me that we would have to replace the PERC machine. And not really ever having been involved in running the cleaning machine or purchasing machine, I just kind of put it on the back of my mind. I think I was more concerned with his health. And then as time grew closer, I thought, well, we better look into what type of machine we could get for our plant. Something that would be beneficial and work better for the type of designer garments that come into our store. So we started looking into different machines. We talked to some people that we knew that had the hydrocarbon machine and the K4 machine, and we decided the K4 machine would be best for what we, the type of work we let out. And in around January, February, that's when we were doing this in 2020. And then the pandemic in March. So that kind of put a standstill because I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen to our business. And then after a month or two, we realized, well, we better start getting estimates for the machine and ordering it. And that's why I placed the order when I did.
Thank you very much, Ms. Delgado. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tomasovic, who will ask questions.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Delgado. I would first like to ask you about what's been marked as Exhibit A, the proposed variance conditions. Did you see that? Did you see that document before today?
Yes.
And did you have any concerns about following those conditions? Being
No.
able to follow those conditions?
No, I think we could comply.
In particular, do you understand under condition 5 that it's talking about the need to pay renewal fees on your permit? And if you don't, your permit will be expired as of March 1st?
Yes.
And by your exhibits, I imagine you recognize the name of Arthur Kajiwara.
Yes.
And who is he?
Well, he's owns the company that we purchased the machine from, and actually we've known him for many years, and he's done repair work on our equipment when needed, and I believe our last machine was purchased from him too, the Perk machine, years ago. Yeah, he goes way back with our company. We've been a family-owned business, and yeah, my late husband and my son had dealings with him before.
And I've seen a number of letters he's made about projected delivery. What do you know to be the latest and best information on when the replacement machine will come to you?
Well, the last I heard from him, he said it should arrive in California the middle of February, and then it goes to his plant, and he has to go over it and make sure he said all the screws and bolts are tightened and the machine works, and then excuse me, he should be able to install it around the beginning of March.
I'm sorry, you were cutting out for a while in your last couple of sentences that you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. The last I heard from Art said that the machine should arrive in California around the middle of March. I guess it's on a boat coming from Italy right now. And he said he should be able to install it. No, I'm sorry. The middle of February, he said it should be in California. And installation should begin around the beginning of March.
And if I could direct your attention to what's been marked as Exhibit 2, which is a copy of a permit to construct/operate. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
And what is it?
Well, I'm sorry, let me focus out.
Exhibit 2, it's Exhibit 1.
It's a permit to install the new K4 machine.
Oh, Madam Chair, have you marked an Exhibit B, which I'd sent to the clerk?
I think I mistook it for an additional, sorry,
Oh, boy.
permit, but it's an additional permit. No, I didn't, and let's mark it now. Okay. We received, is this the permit? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
It was attached with the petition, though, the permit,
Oh, so it's the same one?
and it's 2-page. The one that was sent to us was only 1 page.
It is
So
the
the
same.
petition is more
Oh, it is the same. Okay.
comprehensive.
All right. So we've already marked it because it was part
Okay.
of. Okay. I thought maybe it was the old, you were saying it was the old permit and a new permit. Okay.
My
All right.
mistake. All right, Exhibit 1, the permit. This permit was obtained by you back in November of last year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when the new machine arrives, will it be taking the place of the current machine, same location?
Yes.
And you're not intending to operate both machines together?
No.
With that, I pass the witness. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, questions for Ms. Delgado?
I do have, but before that, can I ask a clarification question from Mr. Tomaselli? Because you read a condition on Exhibit A, which we don't have, about permit renewal. I don't see it in that.
Oh, permit renewal? Oh,
Yeah, did you, because you say condition 5,
condition.
it just says you'll permanently discontinue when the variance ends.
Thank you for that. I had some version control issues I was alerted to last night, and I'm not sure that that it extended to this till now. So what I had read, you may have a version that has just 5 conditions total?
Yes.
Okay. So what I had read was a version that inserted something between 4 and 5. So it was a new condition 5. And it states petitioner shall pay all applicable permit renewal fees and emissions fees for the dry cleaning unit by March 1st, 2021, or else permanently discontinue use of the dry cleaning unit on that date.
Okay, can you read that one more time more slowly?
Yes, petitioner shall pay all applicable permit renewal fees and emissions fees for the dry cleaning unit by March 1st, 2021, or else permanently discontinue use of the dry cleaning unit on that date.
Still writing, hold on. Okay, did everybody get that? Okay. All right, and then 5 would be number 6, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Balagopalan, did you have questions for Ms. Delgado?
Yes, sir, thank you. Ms. Delgado, do you know when your permit expires, the current permit you have? When do you have to renew it by?
I think we need to renew it by March 1st.
March 1st, okay, so that's the renewal date. Okay. And have you been using the perk machine this year?
No.
No. Now you ordered the new machine, and I think you mentioned it's on its way. Oh, it'll be here in February, and so you will install it in March.
That's the plan.
It's a plan, okay.
Mhm.
Do you know approximately, I noticed in yeah, I think your permit, do you know how many gallons you're allowed to use right now on your permit?
I believe it's 40.
40 a year?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the condition of the condition of the variance in Exhibit A was that you shall not clean more than 800 pounds of clothes during the duration of the variance, and that you you mentioned you're only doing 1 or 2 load a week now,
Hmm.
so
Yes.
you should be able to meet that condition
Yes.
without any issues.
Yes. According to my manager, yes. He said yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Mhm.
Board members, any other questions for Ms. Delgado? Oh, Senator, I saw, and then Ms. Verdugo Peralta.
Mr. Delgado, conditions have been presented to you for your continuous operation. Do you agree with those conditions?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I may not have heard it clearly, but I'm a little confused. Ms. Delgado, you said that you are not using the perk machine. You have not used it at all this year, yet you're saying that you're only doing a few loads a week. Can you
Well,
clarify that?
we were before, but now we did send the work out last week. And right now, my manager is waiting to see what happens with this variance. And, then he'll use the cleaning machine if we were allowed the variance.
Okay, but my question is, have you used the perk machine at all in this year of 2021?
No,
Not at all.
no.
Okay, so
But that's
those few loads that you're talking about, are you saying that those are the loads that you're sending out to another facility?
Actually, last week we sent like one very small load out, and the rest he was trying to do wet cleaning and holding off until this week too.
Okay, so the other facility that you're sending that to, do you own it or is it owned by somebody else?
No, we do not own it, and it's owned by somebody else.
Okay, so you have an agreement with them.
Not really. He just did a favor to us for that 1 week last week.
So it was a one-time.
Yes.
So what are you going to do in the near future until you do get your machine installed?
If we don't get the variance, I don't know. We'll have to check and see if he will continue doing it and what type of charge, the money. That would be the problem, us affording to pay somebody to do the cleaning for us.
Mhm. Okay, and I wanted to clarify the other time frame. You said that you started taking over the management of the cleaners when your son became ill, correct?
Yes. Well, kind of. I've never really ran the store, the dry cleaners, and I do now know nothing about a dry cleaning machine. And I was just like the office manager, paid the bills and did stuff like that. That's about it.
So who's running it right now? Do you have another manager?
I have a manager, happens to be my son-in-law, and he does the dry cleaning. And right now he's doing everything there. We have a shirt laundry. He's pressing shirts and doing the delivery.
Okay,
Yeah,
and when that's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we have pickup and delivery service, so he's just doing everything right now.
Okay, and when did that start?
When the pandemic started.
So about last March or so?
Yes, those were not his jobs at that time. Before that.
Okay, so when did you become aware of the fact that you would have to change out the perk machine to a hydrocarbon machine? When did you realize that?
Well, there were different times my son would mention that the machine would have to be changed, and I thought, well, okay. I was more the financial part of the business. I look into saving money and
Okay, so was this before the pandemic? Was it before
It was
2020?
before.
Was it before 2020?
Maybe toward the end of 2019.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Did he say it was because of the AQMD rule or because of the condition and or age of the machine?
Oh, not the age of the machine. And he probably mentioned it was a rule, and that just didn't mean anything to me.
Okay. And how old is your machine?
We purchased it in 2004, I think.
Did you purchase it new or used?
New.
Yeah, okay. All right. Those are all the questions I had. Thank you.
Dr. Bernstein.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Ms. Delgado. I have several questions. When was the business actually established?
At that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, in 1984. We had another location but we've since closed that store.
Okay. So it was established in 1984. You purchased a new machine in 2004, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any schools located and situated close to the cleaners?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I didn't hear that answer. What was the answer to that?
No. No schools close by.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Board members, any other questions for Ms. Delgado? I see Mr. Balagopalan. Oh, Mr. Balagopalan and the Senator.
Ms. Delgado, your permit renewal, you said is due March 1st.
Yes.
And you're aware that you will have to pay for, you're paying for the whole year. And once you get a new machine, you have to discontinue using that hydrocarbon, the perp machine.
If I renew it in March, yes.
You'll have to renew it prior to the expiration date in March. So you got to pay the fees before the renewal date.
I was hoping to wait until the last minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But once you pay, even if you operate a day beyond March, you have to pay for that
Yes,
whole year.
I understand.
You understand? Yeah.
Yes.
What assurance you got from Mr. Kajiwara that the equipment will be there in February, in California in February, and then be installation in March?
Well, it's coming from Italy on a ship, and then it has to go through, I guess he said it stops in Georgia, go through customs, and then it has to be shipped over to California. That's what he said, that's what we're hoping for, because it is on its way. It's been on its way. And I have a letter from Art dated January 8th stating that.
So my question then goes into how realistically, when do you want, when should we provide the variance until April, May? What kind of time frame are you requesting? I know there's a limit of 800 pounds. So once you exceed that, then you have to stop regardless of the time period.
Yeah. I think if we get the variance until March, until our permit expires.
Oh,
Okay.
well, let me just stop for a second. Ms. Delgado, did you receive, you might have heard Mr. Tomasovic before reading a new condition that the board members did not have. Did you, the version of the proposed conditions that you received, do you know if it had a number 5 regarding the payment of applicable permit renewal fees by March 1st?
Yes.
Okay. And so you agree with that.
Yes.
But are you asking for the variance to go beyond that date, should you need it?
I guess so. I don't know what to ask for. I mean,
We want to know what's realistic. So,
Yeah.
and we know that a lot of times there are delays in deliveries, et cetera. But if there is a delay beyond March 1st, is it your intention? Is that your plan, that you want to pay the permit fees and continue operating until you are able to install the equipment?
I'd say, okay, I'll say yes.
Yes, that would be.
Go beyond that. Yeah, I would agree to pay the permit fees if we need to go beyond that.
Does that clarify, Mr. Balagopalan?
Yes, it does. I just wanted to make sure she was aware, you know, that
Okay.
the annual renewal fees and the duration. I mean, the 800 pounds is what's going to limit the operation of the unit, the perk machine. So.
Okay. Did you have any questions? The senator had a question.
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
On the petition, item 21, the question is, how you plan to mitigate excessive emission? And you state that we'll greatly reduce emission because you're only operating 1 day out of 5 days. I think the question was asked earlier, were you still using this machine at all? Then you said, no, not at all. So which is correct?
Well, I was referring to using it 1 day a week prior to 2021. That's what we were doing. And if we get the variance, that's what we would like to do, be able to use it just that 1 day a month, maybe for 1-2 loads.
That is 1 day a week for 1 or 2 months.
I'm sorry, I meant 1 day a week.
1 day a week, right.
Yeah.
1 day a week. That doesn't come close to 800 pounds, or does it?
I know.
So, I mean, that's out the window, that condition. 1 day a week, and you're stipulating to that. No problem. Next question. This machine costs you $75,337.
Yes.
Working a week, or
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The question you cut out during the question. What was the question, Senator?
question, if the machine costs $75,337 and you're farming most of your work out, how can you, unless you're paying cash, how do you finance the debt? Did you borrow that?
I'm not financing it.
Or you're paying it off? Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Delgado? You've really cut down our questioning with the excellent documents you submitted. We appreciate that.
Madam Chair, I did want to redirect if possible.
Yes, Mr. Tomasovic.
Ms. Delgado, just one question. Prior to today, we discussed excess emissions fees. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And how if a variance is granted in each day that you choose to operate, some fee will apply. So you do understand that there is a fee for that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that question. Any other questions before we move forward? Okay, thank you, Ms.
Ms. Delgado, I just wanted to say that the fee is approximately $40 for each day you operate the perk machine.
Yes.
And you're okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. If we have no other questions from Ms. Delgado, then I will move to Mr. Tomasovic. And Mr. Tomasovic, do you wish to present a witness, possibly just for short testimony regarding any excess emissions?
No.
do you have a witness that would testify as to excess emission?
I can get one if you wish to have we
Well,
could have a quick break.
Well, let me ask you these questions, and then if board members wish to hear from a witness, we can do that. We have heard a number of these cases, and the numbers that we have received with regard to excess emissions has been on the order of 0.22 pounds per day of perk on the days when the perk machine is in operation. Is that, if you called a witness, would your witness testify to anything different than that? Do you know?
I believe it would be in line with what you've heard in prior similar cases. This business is permitted for 40 gallons of perk per year versus others that have as high as 49 gallons of perk per year. So it may be slightly less, but you're dealing with small numbers when it comes to the cumulative risk analysis. And staff advises me that they would say yes to your question. So,
And with the understanding of staff, and Senator's probably going to ask that question, knowing that the usage under the variance would be so much less than what was calculated, at least for the cancer risk, which I will ask that question. Let me step back. The cancer risk that has been calculated in other cases was an incremental cancer risk of 0.1 in a million. And it's considering the use of 10 gallons of perk over a year. Is that?
that is correct.
Okay. Senator, did you have a question? Would you like to hear? I think we could establish that given the amount that we are allowing, which is only 1 gallon essentially of perk, that it would be less than the 0.1 in a million, which is based on 10 gallon.
So I don't need to hear another witness. I think that in fact, minimal use 1 day a week, if at all, does not come close to the limits that we will impose on her. So I mean, this consuming time it's not required in my opinion.
Excellent. Okay, so if no one else wishes to hear from any other witnesses, we can close that part of the hearing now. And I'll see if there's, first I just want to make sure no one else had any questions that they wish to see a witness for the district. Okay. Then I'm going to look and see if there's any member of the public who may be available or might be present at this time and who wishes to be heard. And if you are present, I don't know if I see anyone who we don't recognize, but if you are present and you're a member of the public and wish to be heard, you can virtually raise your hand with the raise hand function that's down at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, you can also, hold on one second, I just have to close the door to my office, hold on. My apologies for that. And if I don't think anyone is joining by teleconference. Okay, so I do not see anyone indicating that they wish to be heard. So I'm going to turn, Ms. Delgato, if you would like to give a closing statement, you may do so at this time. Otherwise, you can also just rest on what you've presented so far.
No, I rest.
Thank you. Mr. Tomasovic, your closing statement.
Subject to the hearing board adopting proposed variance conditions as set forth in Exhibit A, we would not oppose the granting of the variance. As to the last condition that left a blank date for when the variance should end, no later than, I would propose that Friday, March 19th is a reasonable end date, but I am also open to the hearing board moving that date around if they so please. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tomasovic. Okay, the hearing is now closed, and board members, would anyone wish to begin deliberation? And also, would board members like me to share my screen for the 6 findings? Would that be helpful? Anyone? Anyone wish to begin?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, Mr. Balagopalan.
I believe we can make the findings to grant this variance based on the condition that Mr. Thomasovic had provided. The petitioner will be in violation of Rule 1421 if when they start using the PERC machine. The usage is the amount they're doing is very low, so the 800 pounds is something they can comply with the condition that was part of the condition. I think they did apply, they did put in the purchase order for the new machine, maybe the intention to do it, the change out by the end of the year. But as we have heard testimony that there has been delay in the production in Italy, and it's been shipped from overseas, and so that it's beyond their control in getting the machine. But they have already put the down payment down, and she has got the loan necessary to continue to pay for the machine. And I don't think she indicated that that is a hardship for her as far as making payments on the machine. So, and as far as so the closing or taking would be, I think there is significant harm to the petitioner. The benefits, the air quality, since we're limiting the usage and the poundage, so the amount of PERC is about 0.22 pounds on the day they operate it. However, it is still a toxic contaminant. There still is a risk, but the risk is the probability is very low, less than 0.1 in a million for the duration of the variance. So from that sense, I think the harm is sort of outweighs the benefit to air quality in a sense. And there's no school or no, at least from what we heard, nearby that sensitive receptor that could be affected during that during the operation of the unit. So they have the curtailment is they have a means to send it out in the interim. They have been doing it. So, and the curtailment would be limited by the permit, which limits them to 800 pounds, and doing 1 or 2 load a week will clearly meet, will allow them to continue until get the new machine in. So, and I think the petitioner will pay the excess emission fee. We heard that she can do that. She's aware of that and will pay that, and will reduce excess emission by limiting their usage to 1 day a week. So, and they will monitor and submit weekly report on their usage of the pounds of clothes cleaned. So they will be doing the monitoring and quantifying them, basically, essentially quantifying the emissions that way. So for all those reasons, and I probably didn't touch everyone in good detail, but I can see supporting based on the conditions that was laid out in Exhibit A. The only issue is condition number 5, and is that, I'm not sure of how long we want to. I think Mr. Tomasowa said March 19th, and I think the permit renewal is due by before March 1st. So they'll have to pay that $500 and then stop using it March 19th. But if she knows that they may not need it beyond March, then they can stop it prior to March. So I'm okay with the March 19 deadline, just as long as Delgado is aware that any day beyond March 1st, the permit has to be renewed prior to that.
Right, and I think that's clear in the proposed condition number 5.
Right.
Okay,
and I know she said she wanted to wait till the last minute to get a better idea if they need to renew it, so.
And you think, before I turn to Ms. Verdugo-Peralta and then Dr. Bernstein, you think that the 19th, it sounds like a reasonable date by which she'll actually be in compliance?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn to Ms. Verdugo-Peralta and then Dr. Bernstein.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's not that I can't find or I can't agree with the findings. It's that I just don't think that March is going to be a realistic date. I'm concerned that delivery is going to be delayed. We're already at the end of January. So that's all of February and a little over half of March. So let's say 8 weeks to err on the side of a larger amount of time. I'm just not confident, maybe that's a better word. I'm not confident, and to no fault of hers, but through the manufacturing and getting it here from Italy and getting it shipped from East Coast to West Coast, I'm just real concerned about that date. And with all her good intentions, that date still may be beyond the 19th of March. So we're making this decision based on a variable that we are not really sure of, because she can't be sure of that either. There's no word from the manufacturer, there is from the distributor. So I'm concerned about that. I'm also concerned about the fact she's only farmed out the work once, and that was as a favor. There's no actual agreement in writing that we can refer to either. Hopefully she'll be able to have that as an option, but it's not in writing that we can see. So those are my two concerns, and I'd like to hear from the rest of my fellow board members as well on that before I actually make a decision.
Dr. Bernstein, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to congratulate Ms. Delgado on several different levels. And first and foremost of managing that business so well that she's able to actually make a purchase of this piece of equipment. In addition, it seems to me that she has incrementally positioned the company to ask appropriately for a variance in a time frame that is actually reasonable, given that beyond their control is the pandemic. And as we've had noted in several previous hearings, the difficulty in getting a machine delivered appropriately and installed in a period of time that is estimated to be, at least according to this petition, by the end of April. I want to congratulate her as well on taking every opportunity to mitigate the potential hazard of utilizing PERC and actually not utilizing it at all as of December 31st and going into this year, outsourcing it as a giver from a dear friend so far, but nevertheless doing everything she could possibly do to comply. I do agree with Ms. Verdugo Peralta in that the petition is asking for a variance through the end of April. And it seems to me that given the conditions, given the current situation with the pandemic and the machinery probably not even being potentially installed until the end of April, it seems to me that we consider within that appropriate time frame, giving Ms. Delgado and Night Cleaners that variance to the end of that time to be able to give her time to actually install that, have that machine installed and utilized as of April the 30th. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator, did you wish to say something? I was going to, but you're leaning forward. Why don't you go ahead?
It's the delivery of the machine beyond Ms. Delgado's control. We've been informed previously and again today that the producer may not have the machine in time in order to meet the scheduled date that we're imposing on her. We've heard it previously that these machines are made in Italy. You get the pandemic in Italy is beyond the control of the manufacturer. So we're in a squeeze play here. See, we got to be open-minded and be realistic about the timeline or the dates that we're imposing. if you want to say by a certain date specifically and guess at it, and you can also say whichever comes first, where it can be installed at a date before the deadline date that we impose, then that's fine. But she's already saying that April 30th, 2021. I don't know if that can be hard and fast. Let's hope that it can. Hope she's right on. But you got to understand that based on the previous hearings, those dates are not hard and fast. They're flexible and undetermined because in the other situation, they could not predict or determine when the machine would be delivered. We don't know that. So let's be realistic here. You might have to come up with a formula, I think, that would be realistic. She only using 1 day a week anyway, so there's not much emission. Bending over backwards to be in compliance, paying for the machine out of her own pocket, unlike the other applicants who don't have the money, by the way. So I would support granting a variance with the limits in terms of time and delivery specified, but let it be flexible.
Thank you. I agree with all my fellow board members on all the issues that have been raised and the reasons why I can make the findings. First of all, I think I've commended Ms. Delgado, but I'd like to commend you again on a great presentation to the board of a lot of documents that answers a lot of the questions that we tend to have. I think Ms. Delgado presented a case today for beyond reasonable control that she did testify that they were planning on, they had received quotes in the beginning of the year, that they were planning on looking at either the K4 machine or the hydrocarbon machine again early in 2020. She presented documents with regard to the impact to the business from COVID. Yet she also presented documents that showed that in October, she was yet again looking for quotes. And as the senator pointed out, in November, before the end of the year, when she needed to stop using PERC, she put a down payment deposit. So she was attempting to comply already back in 2020 before the deadline. And as also has been mentioned, it's beyond her reasonable control how quickly this machine can reach her. I would say, with everything else that's been said, I would say that maybe we would add another condition that we would consider extending this pound limitation for the entire variance, that we extend the variance to April 30th or until final compliance, whichever occurs first, and that we put a condition in, another condition that would require the installation of the machine within a week of receipt of the machine. And that way we would guarantee that as soon as the machine is received, it would very quickly be put into, installed and put in operation, but that we allow for that time till April 30th in the event that beyond her reasonable control, that machine is not received in time. I don't know what my fellow board members think of that as an option.
I think that's a good option. I think that's fair and reasonable and realistic.
You know,
And I agree with that, even though Ms. Delgado did not indicate that, even though a petition did say April, end of April, but she did, in a testimony, she said March. But I think it's knowing the delays and stuff, that's a good compromise we can add to as a condition.
And I don't think, I don't think we have to reopen the hearing, but I think we heard enough from Ms. Delgado that she would, I think, be very willing to, as soon as she received the machine, put it into operation. Okay, so if there's no other thoughts, then I'll make a motion and I'll put that, that in.
I just wanted to add also, I think it's also in a favor, she had applied for the permit for the new machine in a timely manner, so, and got the permit.
Thank you. I think it's important that we put on the record how diligent Ms. Delgado has been, and I think we've done that. I think we've put that on the record, and that's what makes it, I think, a lot easier for this board to make all the findings and be able to vote in favor of a variance. So I'm going to make a motion, and that is in the matter of night cleaners. Night cleaners case number 6194-1. I move that we grant a variance, regular variance, that would begin today and go through April 30th, 2021, or final compliance with what will be condition number 6, whichever occurs first. It is for the dry cleaning machine and equipment that is located at 424 East Foothill Boulevard in Arcadia, 9106. And it is from Rule 1421, and particularly the deadline to discontinue the use of PERC by December 31st, 2020. I further move that we adopt the proposed regular variance conditions found in Exhibit A, as an apple, and that we add condition number 5, which reads, petitioner shall pay all applicable permit renewal fees and emission fees for the dry cleaning unit by March 1st, 2021, or else permanently discontinue use of the dry cleaning unit by that date. Also, I would add condition number 6, petitioner shall install within 1 week, shall install the 1421 compliant machine. Petitioner shall install the 1421 compliant machine within 1 week of receiving the machine at night cleaner's premises. And then what was condition number 7, 5 will be condition number 7. The dry cleaner, the dry cleaner unit shall permanently discontinue operations, and this variance will end no later than April 30th, 2020. I'm sorry. And I heard Dr. Bernstein seconding the motion. Is there a discussion on that motion? Oh, and excess emissions are 0.22 pounds per day of PERC when the dry cleaning, the non-compliant dry cleaning machine is in operation on those days only. And a second by Dr. Bernstein. Is there a discussion on that motion? Okay. Mr. Balagopalan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Senator Holden, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Verdugo-Peralta, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Bernstein, you vote?
Hey.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. And I just want to go over really quickly. I think we did this during the hearing, but Ms. Delgado, I just want to be very clear because it's likely that you will not receive the actual order for a little while because the clerk's office is very backlogged due to how many cases we have currently. But again, you do have the 800-pound limit, which is essentially equivalent to about a pound of PERC. Is that right?
No, a gallon of PERC.
Sorry, a gallon of 800 pounds of clothing, a gallon of perk for the entire variance. So if it needs to stretch out through April, you need to keep that in mind in managing your loads. Also, every Saturday, beginning January 23rd, which is this Saturday, you will need to send to Mr. Mark Vonderow, and his email address is MVONDERAU, MVONDERAU at AQMD.gov. So once a week, the daily records of the daily pounds of clothes cleaned in your unit. Also, any fees, meaning those excess emission fees to which you are aware, must be paid within 30 days of when you're notified in writing that they are due. Also, you need to let us know when when you are in compliance. Also, those permit renewal fees, if you do not have the compliant unit by March 1st, must be paid by March 1st, including those emission fees as well that are due. Not the excess emission fees, but your regular emission fees must be paid by March 1st. And then you need to install within 1 week of receiving at your premises the compliant machine. It needs to be installed within 1 week. And then the variance will end either at that time, if that comes first, or if that doesn't happen by April 30th, it will end by April 30th. And thank you again for being so well prepared, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, board members, we're going to take a 15-minute break. Let's say we come back at 10:25. It's a little more than 15 minutes. And at that time, we will take up our second matter for the day, which is Beltone Cleaners, case number 6207-1. We are off the record, and please, if you're here for the second matter and you're sticking around, please do not leave the meeting. Just make sure to everybody mute your microphone. We're off the record.
Hey, Harold, how are you? Yes. That's $500 a week.
Can you please mute your audio, Mr. Masaban? Thank you.
being with us.
Mohan? It's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
What time are we coming back?
Actually, 10:25.
Okay, let me pull down the sign.
Okay.
Yes, we will start assembling in a couple of minutes.
I was going to say, Julie, that's a good summary you sent out about the proceeding, all the cleaners. I think that should help a lot.
Thank you. It was Faye had the idea that perhaps we should be doing that. I think it's going to cut down on a lot of confusion. It answers a lot of questions that have come up also during the hearings. Okay, it looks like all the board members are present. I also think we're just waiting for Mr. Tomasovic, I think, who will, unless Ms. Kent, I don't know who is representing the district in the next month. Okay, the time is 10:25, and I'm not sure. I'll call the next matter when I know that we have the district present. Okay, Mr. Tomasovic is present. Okay, then we are back on the record. And I'm going to call the second matter we have on our calendar today, and that is Beltone Cleaners, case number 6207-1 for a regular variance. And who is present representing Beltone Cleaners today?
I mean, full tone cleaners, my name Massaban, Ben Massaban.
No, that's not correct. It's Beltone Cleaners.
I think is wrong. I'm Beltone Cleaners.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it's a full tone cleaner. I'm sorry.
Ms. Bezoan, I think you're representing Westwood Cleaners. That's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow,
Yes.
but I sent the email I sent the thing for today.
I know we saw that, but you're scheduled for tomorrow.
Yes, you are on the calendar for tomorrow. That's when we've noticed you're here.
All right, but I thought it's today because I received something. Okay, I see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Beltone Cleaners.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who is representing Beltone Cleaners then?
Hi, my name is Ali Reza Riazi. I'm a owner of the Beltone Cleaners.
Can you
Yeah.
spell for us your name, your first and last name?
Is a starting SEYEDALIREZA, and then Riazi is last name RIAZI.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Riazi. And who is representing the executive officer in the district today?
Ryan Tomasovic, Senior Deputy District Counsel for the Executive Officer.
Morning again, Mr.
Good
Tom.
morning.
Okay, Mr. Riazi, did you either watch the preceding case or receive the instruction sheet that was sent out yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, so are you aware then of what the findings are that we're looking for today?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. That makes it a lot easier. Okay, I see a couple of documents that we can mark. Just to be consistent, I think we'll mark the documents that are included in with the petition. And I see that there is, first of all, the permit for the current perk machine, and that we will mark as exhibit number 1. And also I see a sales agreement that is dated December 5th of 2020 with US Western Multitech, Inc., and we will mark that as exhibit number 2. Also, we received from the district today, and I'm not sure if it's the final version, but we'll get there. The proposed variance conditions from the district for Beltone cleaners, and we will mark that as exhibit A. And Mr. Riazi, did you receive that as well?
Yes.
Great. So what I'm going to do is, Mr. Riazi and anyone else you might, Mr. Balagopal.
I think there was a permit for the hydrocarbon machine also included.
K4.
Was that, I'm sorry, did I miss that in the
That was
petition?
the district's exhibit, actually.
Oh, that's districts, but okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so we will mark that as exhibit B. Okay, so there is so that's for the new machine, the compliant machine, and we'll mark that as exhibit B. Okay. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I think I got lost in the documents. Okay. With that, Mr. Riazi, and if there's anyone else who you think might give testimony today, I'm going to put you under oath. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today?
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much. So with that, Mr. Riazi, what I'd like for you to do is if you could just give us a brief opening statement with regard to your position and what you're requesting today from the board.
Sure. Good morning, Madam and board member. My name is Ali Reza Riazi, or Alex. They said Alex Riazi. I'm asking for the variance on Rule 1421, which asks for us to remove our PERC machine. I plan to achieve compliance by the end of the March and replace the PERC machine with a new K4 machine.
Thank you. Turn to Mr. Tomasovic for his opening statement.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, members of the board. We take no position at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Riazi, I'm going to turn to you, and if you'd like to address as you wish the 6 findings we need to make and anything else that you'd like the board to know.
Sure. Talk about the business. I bought this business in 2005. When I bought the machine, my PERC machine, it was almost new. It was 2003. And then I don't have any problem, that it was new machine, and then we running, and I don't have any problem for that machine. And then after a couple of years, I have to change the machine end of the 2020. And I had the plan to changing, that beginning 2020 or end of the 2019. And that time I got the code from my US Western Multitech, and then I got the code, but start to that think about the financing and talked about the bank, and that time the pandemic is starting, and then business that every month go down until now. And then anyway, I got another code end of the years from the same company again to buy. I know that I have to buy, and I got the code and then start to buy it. And then I order it to buy the new machine. I think my machine should become, we have to plan here early of the March. And then with the installation early of March to maybe 15, and then after end of the March should be the installation, and then should be done end of the March. That's the planning with my dealer. That's, and the, you know, for that time, I start the, I use the perk machine every, before pandemic, 2 times the low dark color, light color, I use it, but after that, you know, after pandemic, I use just 1 times the week, because I do hear a lot of the employee and sheet and towel for hotel, something, you know, there is a wet cleaning and washable, and the shirt unit, shirt machine. Not too much use the perk, maybe once time the week or not. And then I running before pandemic is at, you know, 7 to 7. After that, reduce the hours to the 8 to 3, 2, or after starting with the 2 and then 3. Right now I close 4 o'clock. And then not too much use the perk, because I told you much as use the wash here. And then Saturdays, you know, I'm closed Saturday, not running the laundry machine as well. And 1 times the weeks, maybe I close again, just here to, you know, to grab the clothes. It's same as today. I not running machine, all the machine, you know, is not too much. And my most customer is the local and old customer, because this business is 1961 established here. It's a long time, and I'm owner is 2005. All is the family, and they need the cleaning this area, and that's why I opening and not too much cleaners this area. Most of them is close and then go. I know that anyway. My neighbor, they need my service, and we just survive and keep going. I hope it's going back to normal soon. Anyway, I ordered the machine. I'm waiting to start again. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Riazi.
Yes.
I'm going to turn it to Mr. Tomaso for questions.
Hey, good morning, sir. Just a few
Good morning.
questions.
Yes, sir.
Exhibit A is has at the top in the caption there, proposed variance conditions. Do you see that in front of you? This is something I'd emailed you to you last week. Okay. And have you read those 5 proposed conditions?
Yes.
And are those conditions that you would be able to follow and comply with?
Yes.
The latest information you have on the delivery of your new machine is when exactly?
It's a March, beginning of the March.
Possibly end of February.
End of the February.
Beginning of March.
And do you have any information on where this is being shipped from?
Yeah, from Italy. Do you want to tell them?
And when's the last, how recent is this information you have about it coming beginning of March or potentially even the end of February? When's the last time you've talked to Multitech or the vendor?
Today.
Today.
Yes.
Do you own any other dry cleaners in the area?
Sir. No, sir.
The petition references that at the beginning of last year, you were negotiating a lease on the property.
Yes.
Was that an annual lease or what kind of lease was it?
For the for annual lease actually, because the lease is going to be end of the last year. That's why we start to talk about the lease. They give me lease because I told you I'm long time here and then I want to keep going. It's a nice area, good customer, anyway, I want to keep continue. That's the only job I have it.
Did you sign a new lease for a longer period, or are you month to month right now?
I'm right now month to month. We are right now talk about the 5 years and 2 more 5 years option.
I see. How much was the down payment that you paid, or what percent at least was the down payment you paid on the new machine?
I tried to pay at least 5,000. Is it right now? I didn't pay yet, but I tried to pay 5,000 down. Yeah. Yeah. Or if couldn't 100% financing,
Yeah. So can you clarify, is the order for the new machine being financed, or have you actually made a down payment of any amount?
Financing.
Your petition references that you have 4 employees, is that correct?
Yeah, not now. Before pandemic, yes.
How many do you have now?
I have right now 1 full-time and 1 part-time. Actually, and me too. I'm working as an employee too.
And your petition puts down a number for economic losses if you were made to, I guess, shut down or not use the perk machine. Is at least $20,000 a month an accurate sum still, or would you revise that?
No, there is almost the same or more than that. I do a lot of hotel, account with a lot of hotel in the LAX hotel or something, but you know that right now is all the hotel is so going down 70% or something, and some of them is closed.
Okay. And even with that business, you don't have any concerns about an 800-pound limit for the duration of the variance?
No, because most of mine is a uniform, and then I just have the dry cleaning few for my local customer. But for hotel and then rest of them all is the washable, and I use I do the wash.
You either heard in the prior hearing or recall we discussed that excess emissions fees are something you would have to pay for each day of operation.
Yes,
if you get a variance, and
yes.
It's approximately $40 per day of operation. So you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you also understand that a variance, if it is granted, is only issued starting from today?
Yes, sir.
In other words, if you have operated in 2021, that machine, you may be subject to enforcement.
Sure, but I don't use it I know from after 2021 I have to do, but yes, okay.
Exhibit B is a copy of the permit to construct and operate. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes. This is my permit.
The new permit, right?
Yes, I pay for new permit for new machine.
And that was issued, if you look at the 3rd page, was that issued on December 31st of 2020?
Yes.
Do you know what part of January you applied for that permit in?
December, I believe so. We applied because the first of the week of the January I got that permit. I applied last year. This is the apply and then receipt.
They were issued at December 31st, so they applied prior to that. Sorry to interject.
Thank you.
No, that's helpful.
So, Mr. Riazi, even though you're hoping the machine gets delivered earlier, how far out are you asking for the variance to extend? Maybe as a fail-safe if there's delivery issues.
If the delivery issues, maybe April, middle of the April or end of the April, if something happen. But I have plan here for the 28th of the March complete.
You know, your current permit for the perk machine, even though by rule you can't operate it, that permit does expire in April. Have you received any renewal notices or anything about that?
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. As usual, they send me every I think February every years they send me the to pay the fees and then give me the permit.
Okay.
But I didn't get yet.
To avoid any issues, is a March 28th termination date of a variance something that's feasible for you?
Yes, it's okay.
And that matches your petition as well, which suggested you expect to achieve compliance by March 28th, correct?
Yes, sir.
With that, Madam Chair, I pass the witness. Thank you.
Thank you. How long do you think it would take once you receive the machine to install it? Is there anything you need to do?
No, because very easy to the access to my cleaners. Some cleaners, they have a lot of, small. Mine is it's very active. I have the back door. I don't have any problem to remove the window or other guys coming to move anything. I think should be 3 to 4 days should be installed.
Thank you. And I don't know if I understood if I heard a clear answer. Have you operated your machine since January 1st?
January 1st, I run. Yes, absolutely. Because anyway, I have some customer I have to running, but I told you it's not too much. Maybe 5 to 10 pounds every week. I running the machine because anyway they coming local. My local customer, they need the dry cleaning too.
So would you say that since the beginning of the year, you've done about how
every
much?
week, maybe 5 pounds to 10 pounds. I'm not roughly, that's just roughly, garment.
And I just want to make sure you understand that that was in non-compliance with 1421. And even if you were to receive a variance today, would not cover that period of time.
Yes.
If you continued to operate, were you waiting for the variance hearing today? Is that?
Yes.
And would you understand that just like the deadline for 1421, if you were granted a variance today and the variance gives a date by which you need to stop using your perk machine, that you would be in violation if you went past that date?
Yes.
My only other question for you is your ability, if you have financed this 100%, what do you feel you are financially able to service the financing?
Yes. I don't have, because I don't think so. I don't have any problem for the financing or for the payment.
And so even though you haven't put down a deposit, you have finalized an agreement, and that machine that you expect end of February, beginning of March is your machine.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
sure.
Other questions? Okay, Mr. Balagopalan, and then Dr. Bernstein.
Yes, Mr. Riazi,
Yes, sir.
if you haven't put a down payment, what assurance do you have that multi-tech will will provide the machine? Because I know there's a lot of demand for these machines right now, and the supply is somewhat limited.
Yeah, I have, the bank statement to show how much I make it before the pandemic, and then after that, I provide that one, and then this business, I told you, established 1961, and then yeah.
But didn't multi-tech require some kind of payment to reserve your machine?
That's just proof of the financing.
Okay, so you haven't signed any kind of agreement yet, or down payment. You haven't put anything down yet.
Sales agreement. Signed
And you
the
said
sales agreement. Signed the sales agreement.
you did sign the sales agreement.
Yes, sir.
When did you do that?
December.
December. Oh, okay, left. And did you put any down with that?
No.
No.
No,
And they didn't require it. You mentioned a $5,000.
Yes, I tell them I try to put the down payment 5,000 if I can't, because I told you, I have a lot of hotel to do a lot of visit. For example, one of the hotel, they owe me from April, while other hotel owe me from the, right now I have here, they have to, I start to collect all the hotel here to this amount. You see, this is all they owe me. I waiting to, and then keep pushing every day. They go talk to their fire, got that money at least to put the down payment for my new machine. That's why I said, give me a little bit time to collect the money and then put as a down payment.
And they agreed to that.
Yes.
And you said you talked to them today?
Yes.
And what and they gave you an update when you can receive when potentially the machine can be delivered, or?
Just when I talked, he said if nothing happens, supposed to be the 1st of the March, and beginning of the first week of the March.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many, when you were operating the PERC machine, how many gallons were you using a year?
For the before or after pandemic?
Before pandemic.
Before I told you it's before per day a year. You said that means maybe 40 pounds per year.
40 gallons, you mean?
Yes, sir. Because mine is most of them is uniform for hotel, and then sheet or something is not too much using. And then as usual, I when I go to the they're running the machine for more dry. When you use
the reason I ask is your latest permit, what we got as part of the order was 2002 and gave you 20 gallons a month, which is kind of surprising. That 240 gallons, which I thought there would have been a subsequent permit that would have reduced your PERC. But this is the only permit you have currently on your PERC machine?
For the yes. For the PERC machine, yes.
Yeah. So, okay. I just wondered why you got 20 gallons a month. Why it wasn't revised, that's all. Or if you got a subsequent permit that reduced the usage.
For maybe I told you maybe the one gallon to maybe yeah.
Okay, no, that's okay. I was just one.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I have no other question.
Yes.
Dr. Bernstein had questions.
I can hear, Mr. Oh yes, now.
Sorry.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Yazzie.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Yazzie, are there any schools located near your facility?
No, sir.
No, none.
No.
And Mr. Yazzie, I just need to ask a little bit more. We have as an exhibit, a sales agreement that is unsigned. You're telling us that this company proceeded with the sale of a piece of machinery without a down payment and has told you that an estimated delivery date to Western Multitech is somewhere at the end of March.
Yes.
And so have you shown them proof of financing that they feel comfortable? I'm just trying to understand that this is totally different than any other case that we reviewed with people purchasing machinery of this amount.
Mm-hmm.
That they're simply going forward by you signing a sales agreement.
Yes. Proof of the proof of the financing to them, and then.
And the proof of the financing is the
and we have
outstanding. Is the outstanding amount from the hotels for the wet cleaning? Is that what you're speaking of?
Yes.
They're outstanding since April. Is that typically the turnaround times from April, but the 9 months later? I mean,
No.
Hotels telling you why they're not paying you for a job that you've already completed.
Not that. No.
I'm sorry.
Just proof of the financing from the bank. I show the proof of the financing from my bank.
So you'll have a document that states that the bank will finance this full amount of the purchase?
Yes.
I think that we're going to need to see that. And I need to see that.
Do you have that?
For the bank. Oh. The display, huh? This is the company I buy.
Okay, Madam Chair, is there any way for us to get a copy of that email copied and sent to us so we could peruse it?
Mr. Riazzi, would it be possible if we took a brief break for you to be able to email a copy, perhaps scan? I don't know if you have that capability there. Is that something that you could do if we took a break?
Or fax it?
Yes.
Yes? Should we take
Yes.
a, oh, Mr. Balagopalan?
Well, if it's doing that, then maybe also a copy of the signed agreement, sales agreement.
Exactly what I was
Right now, we
going to
don't have that.
Yes.
Sure.
Very helpful and probably move this along quicker. So why don't, how long would you need, Mr. Riazzi? Would you like to take 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll go off the record for 5 minutes. Please don't leave the meeting, just microphone. And we'll come back at 11:05, and hopefully, well, actually, let's give a little more time for clerk. So Mr. Riazzi, if you can send that to clerkofboard@aqmd.gov.
Okay.
You've sent
Sure.
out other documents, and then we'll give a total of 10 minutes. So 5
Sure.
minutes for the clerk to receive it, and then another 5 for her to circulate it to everyone. So let's come back at 10 after 11 with those.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
we are off the record. Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
So it looks like we did receive those documents, and we'll go back on as soon as we have everyone. Okay. We are back on the record, and we have received 2 documents, which I will mark. We have received a sales agreement dated 12/16/2020, and that will be number 3, correct? We're up to number 3. We'll mark that as exhibit number 3. And we also received a finance credit application. I don't see the date, but we only received 1. So we'll mark that as exhibit number 4. Okay. Now that we have those, we were still with Dr. Bernstein, who was asking questions. Did you have any questions before I turn it over?
No, ma'am. Just I haven't received them yet. So,
Okay, so let's wait a moment. Did everybody get them before we move forward?
Yes,
Okay,
I received mine.
I did too. Senator, did you get yours? You're muted, Senator.
I received mine. I'm printing it right now.
We'll wait Dr. Bernstein to receive his.
got it.
You want to take a moment? Let's take a moment. Take a look at it. Okay, does anyone need any additional time? Okay. Dr. Bernstein, I'll send it to you if you had questions, and then I'll leave it to the rest of the board to ask if they have any questions.
No, ma'am. My questions were answered. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Verdugo Peralta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The document that we received is only an application. It is not a commitment of funds from that financial institution at all. So I don't see that there is any proof of available funding. That this is, and it's not even signed by anybody from the financial institution.
Mr. Riazi, can you speak to that at all?
Yes, I just waiting to the approval as I don't get yet, but as soon as get, I can send them to you. Because they need a lot of the, that the bank statement or all the information they needed. I send them that, but I waiting to send me the approval. As soon as I get the approval, I can provide to you guys.
Well, what about providing it to US Western Multi-Tech? Are you saying then that regardless of whether you have proof of funding or not, they're going forward and they're selling you this piece of machinery without any proof of funding?
Yes. Yes. As my Mr. Andrew is Western Multi-Tech.
Oh,
I'm actually the dealer. Sorry, I should have introduced myself earlier because I'm a witness here.
that would actually be very
Yeah.
helpful.
Sorry about that.
Start with, please, if you can state and spell your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Andrew Park. It's Andrew, Park. I am the president of US Western Multi-Tech, and we are dealing with Beltone cleaners, and we plan to put the machine in, get them in compliance by the stated date at the end of March.
And Mr. Park, did you take the oath when I administered it?
No, I did not. I need to do that.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so everything you just said was under oath, correct?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Verdugo Peralta, do you have questions for either Mr. Park or Mr. Riazi?
Same question I had earlier, Mr. Park. Are you the owner of a US Western Multi-Tech?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're willing to go forward with the sales agreement regardless of whether Mr. Razi has actual proof of funding. Is that correct?
We are stocking the machine regardless. So we have already ordered it. It's already in production in Italy, and it's bound to ship by the end of February, possibly if it's delayed, the beginning of March.
Is that the outside date that you are estimating?
No,
March?
that is what I was informed from Union directly, was the end of February, but we are projecting beginning of March, just as a precautionary measure.
Okay, thank you.
That's the ship date, Mr. Park?
That is the ship date from Italy to Georgia.
And then how long do you anticipate it will take, given COVID and other potential issues, to reach here?
To reach California, it only takes 1 week from Georgia.
From Georgia, okay.
Yes.
So you will anticipate no later than the middle of March?
Yes, to receive the equipment no later than middle of March. We should have them in compliance by the end of March if there are no further delays. But given our cushion, I think we have enough cushion to get it in by the end of March.
And is your sale to Mr. Riazi and Beltone Cleaners, is that going to be dependent upon the proof of financing?
Yes, of course. So once he has the proof, he should send a copy to you guys as proof and evidence in your documents. So
Thank you. And Mr. Riazi, what would you do if you are denied the financing?
Think so for deny because my credit is okay. My proof of the statement or bank income should be okay. I have, yeah. Yes. Yes, I have the family is a C corporation. Right now, I apply with only mine, but I have to my wife or my sister-in-law is in the corporation, and then we can apply for them too as well.
Okay, so you're attempting to apply simply under yourself, and then if
Yes,
that's denied, you're going to go further and continue.
my wife, yes, or my sister-in-law.
Okay, so you don't really think it's an option that you'll be denied overall financially.
Yes, that's why I told Mr. Park I show everything,
Okay,
for for sure I got that machine.
that certainly helps that you have Mr. Park
Yeah.
saying you're feeling confident.
Sorry for coming in so late.
No.
I didn't know if I was allowed to be in the hearing, but
Ask who's sitting next to you, but you never were offering any testimony, so I was.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
this is my first time as well. It's a pleasure to be here. We've been changing out. We actually changed out a dozen machines in the past month, and we just want to get Beltone cleaners in compliance as well.
Thank you for that good work. Board members, questions either, let's open it up to either Mr. Riazi or Mr. Park. Yes, Mr. Balagopalan.
Oh, sorry, it's muted. We can't hear you.
Mr. Balagopalan.
Yes, sorry about that. Thank you for coming today, Mr. Park. I think we had a number of cleaners before who had ordered your machine, and you said you have I mean, is this a custom order? You said ordered in production, so is it a custom production or is it?
So that's a good question. This particular machine, it's a more affordable option for K4. The other one with the bells and whistles, you'll probably get faster, but this is particularly like a smaller still tank or part of the machine, as well as different fittings, which are more affordable. They're not stainless steel. So they do need to make it in the factory first by custom order, or else because it's not in high demand. But now, especially due to COVID, there's been even more delays. So, and also we've done quite a lot the end of last year. So they just have been backed.
But do you have? I'm assuming you got a container full of cleaners coming, or is it just as you order them?
No, as we order them, we are also suffering from the pandemic, and not just us. Actually, Union, the distributor, the dry clean machine USA distributor, they are also back. They don't want to stock as many machines because of the pandemic and the results of the economy. So it is actually hard for us to stock machines, and we just do it by order mainly.
Okay. Thank you for
yes,
that.
no problem.
Board members, any other questions for either Mr. Riazi or Mr. Park? Senator Holman.
Mr. Park, will the manufacturer require you to submit a deposit before beginning construction of this machine?
Yes. We put down 50%, but we are confident of the sale, and regardless, we are confident of keeping it here. If we need to sell, we are confident of it going out. So,
Park, will you require his wife or sister-in-law or sister to sign onto this agreement?
sorry, I couldn't hear the beginning of your question.
Require his wife, he mentioned that his wife or sister, the sister-in-law, were signed onto this agreement of affordability. Did you hear him, Mr. Rogers, say that?
Yes, he mentioned that as a backup, just in case anything happens with the financing. So we are aligned with that, and we know.
You say you're the owner of this US?
I work with my dad, so don't worry. I'm not. I know I look young.
Yes or no? Are you the owner?
Yes, I am the owner.
And your dad owns part of the business also?
No, I am the 100% owner. But we work together.
Have you provided a request for machines from any other cleaner?
Yes, I did require a machine for Tiffany cleaners.
How many so far?
They have the same K4 machine as Beltone cleaners. And we also have one more machine coming in for studio 1 hour cleaners.
How do you respond to the fact that we've heard cases where Italy could not deliver the machines timely and there's a delay? Have you heard of anything like that?
There are delays. That's not unheard of, but we will get the machines regardless of the delay. I mean, it's like maybe 1 to 2 weeks. I don't think it would go over that delay, but once we put in the order and if they need to make it in Italy, it would take about 2 to 3 months to get the machine. That's what typically we've been seeing.
Once you put in the order, so therefore you're saying you have not put the order in yet?
No, I did put the order in back in December. So it was already at the middle of December, and we've just got an update 2 days ago that it would come by the end of February. And if it's delayed, beginning of March. So that's where the cushion, where we would be able to do it by end of March.
In the petition, item 24, give a schedule from quote for acquiring the machine and for delivery and to be in full compliance. Have you seen that?
Yes.
And then that's Mr. Riazzi's petition.
I understand. But I'm asking have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
He's speaking to the schedule based on the questions that we're asking him.
Yes.
You have a reason to believe that that schedule cannot be met?
No, I believe it'll be met by that date.
But you mentioned that the target dates you requested from Italy may not be complied with because of pandemic. If that being the case, how your schedule can be firm?
We already got an update that they're going to ship by the end of February. So I can't say 100% that this will be the case where we will achieve compliance by the end of March, 100%. But given the updates that I've gotten, the path to compliance seems very doable. So that's the best of my knowledge. Yeah.
What we do from time to time is this specify in various deadline dates, and you just testifying that you may not be able to do that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Therefore, deadline date is a variable.
Wait,
I see.
did you just testify that you may not be able to? Is that what because that was the question.
That is correct if there is exceptions and an even further delay.
So the dates you're presenting to the board today may not be finalized until some later date that you don't know about.
Yes, but given the updates we've received, it looks like the path can to compliance, the compliance can be achieved.
How many machines have you bought from Italy?
Starting from when?
Started from a year ago.
A year ago? We've done probably 30 to 40 machines.
What about delivery schedule? Have they been on time or?
Yes, they've been pretty timely, but
Pandemic?
but yes, there have been delays before, but if they give an update, they usually follow through with it. So it's very, I'm actually very positive that
So you have enough confidence that
yes, I have a lot of confidence that the compliance can be achieved. I
okay.
don't want to present doubt upon that. I just want to clarify that if there is an unseemly circumstance, then I cannot guarantee 100%. But given the past history of what we've installed before, I am very confident to say that we can achieve the compliance by that date.
Mr. Park, you made about 30 purchases, is that correct?
Yes, we've done plenty in the past year.
And have you previously entered into an agreement where the buyer of the machine has not put down a deposit?
Yes, we've done 100% financing before.
So
with no deposit.
You're financing the machine then?
Yes, sorry, are you asking if the customer is financing to get the machine or for us to purchase?
I mean, you just go out on a limb and make a purchase from Italy, putting down a deposit, and the cleaners is giving you nothing. Have you done that before?
Well, they've already applied for financing. We keep in touch with the financing officer. And yes, it's okay to stock this machine because we know we can sell it. So it's not a big problem. We just want to make sure he's in compliance and he has the ability to be in compliance sooner than later. So yes, there is, like, we understand there's no deposit. If you need proof of deposit, that is possible, but it's not necessary. We want to get him financed 100%.
Oh, 100% finance.
Yes.
And he can service the debt.
Yes, so we collect from the financing company 100%. So
Strange. All right. No further comments.
Mr. Balagopalan, you have questions?
Yes, for Mr. Park and then Mr. Riazi. Mr. Park, this machine uses the K4 solvent. What the other hydrocarbon machine? What kind of solvent do they use?
So hydrocarbon, they use DF2000.
DF, okay, 2000.
Yeah, which is petroleum based.
Right. And this one is the K4.
Yes, this is K4.
And that's why it's sort of custom ordered.
Yes, because the machines that are hydrocarbon cannot use K4.
Okay.
But a K4 machine can use hydrocarbon. It's just that they're specialized to use K4.
Do you plan to, we have several other dry cleaners who may be ordering from you. Do you plan to appear as you're doing today and testify also?
So yeah, this is my first
helpful,
one.
that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, because I think when I've been watching, I watched a couple webcasts and I just want to like make it simpler for you guys. You know, it's just a straight up, I get your questions, you need direct answers. And I just kind of wanted to sit in and help. And I know like dry cleaning is kind of a deal. Like, it's like not everyone knows about the machines. So yes, I do want to
Oh,
help
no, we
when I
appreciate
can.
you coming. Yeah.
I do help with Korean customers as well. I also have Korean customers that have that can't speak English as well. So if they do need help, I can try to help you as well with helping those type of customers.
I wanted to ask a follow-up question to Mr. Riazi, if
Yes.
I may. When exactly does your permit expire? Do you know?
It should be for the old one.
The perk machine, yes.
Yep. I think it's a March, I believe.
What day in March?
Let me see. My permit is over there. Yeah. No, it's not March. June. Yeah, June 6, 16, 21.
Oh, June 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, 6, 16, 21 is a permit.
Okay. So that explains why you haven't got the invoice yet. Normally, it's sent out about 60 days before.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Riazi, you did testify that you have used this perk machine. So if we were to grant this variance, and would you accept we reducing the 800 pounds to 750 pounds because you've used it already?
Yes.
I was actually thinking to make it cleaner that we would include the limitation from January 1st through the end of the variance if we were to grant it. Would you agree with that?
Okay, give the records for the usage.
And I've actually already.
Oh, okay. No, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Do exactly that to make sure the
Right.
record.
Sure. Yeah.
Would
Because
you agree with that, Mr. Riazi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions? And Mr. Tomasovic, we've received documents and you asked your questions if you had any questions. Senator has questions, but.
More questions to Mr. Park. Mr. Park, is this your signature on this sales agreement?
No, that's not my signature. That's Mr. Riazi's signature.
Well, you represent Western Multitech Inc., right?
Yes, that's our sales agreement.
And the quotes listed on this agreement, would it not require your signature rather than Mr. Rosazzo's signature? It's your company.
If this is for our customer to agree with us, it would be his signature to for the sales agreement.
Stand behind. He cannot validate the estimates and the profile on this sales agreement. Only you can.
Do you need it as for documentation, as a proof that it's from me? Is that why you need my signature?
You're the company. You saying
Yes.
It's a sales agreement. Really, both signatures should be on it, and yours should be there for sure.
Yeah, well, with our quote, we have our customers sign it. But if
Is that your normal course?
yeah,
of
that's our normal course of for quotes for the sales agreement.
You answered for him, let him answer for himself. This is not, I've never seen anything like this before. Maybe it's new. It's normal for you, it's normal for someone else, I don't know. I've never seen like this when they come up with an agreement from the company and the company's letterhead, the president of the company signs the agreement. But you didn't do that.
No, this is normal for us. We have our customers sign it, and they agreed with the quote, with the agreement.
Well, it'd be nice if you had your signature on it also, as far as I'm concerned.
If you need my signature, we can.
When I do business, I The provider signs and I sign.
Yes.
Is that correct? Have you done that before? Both signatures?
Normally we don't do that, but
Okay.
but yeah, I understand. We've done it before with vendors. Yes.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members, for either Mr. Riazzi or, oh, and Mr. Tomasovic, you have questions?
Mr. Riazzi, who paid for the permit application in December?
I pay.
And
No,
can you-
for permit, for the new permit,
yes.
for your company. Yeah. He paid and I paid them.
You reimbursed already
Yes.
for that amount?
Yes.
And how much was the amount?
$924.14.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay. Board members, any questions, additional questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Riazzi. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Park.
you. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Tomasovic, is this the same situation where you do not plan to present any witnesses?
Correct.
Okay. And same questions I have. If you were to present a witness, would your witness testify any differently than the numbers we have heard, which is excess emissions of 0.22 pounds per day of perk on any day when a perk machine like the one that the petitioner has is operated? Mr. Tomasovic. Oh, are you getting that answer?
I can proffer that a witness would testify to that, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
And similarly, that same calculation of 0.1 in a million, like additional cancer risk, incremental cancer risk, if a machine similar to the petitioner's were to be used for a year with 10 gallons of perk.
Correct.
Okay. Board members, any need to bring on any witnesses? Okay. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tomasovic. Okay, at this time then, I am going to close the hearing, but see if there's any member of the public who might be present who wishes to be heard on this matter. And if you are, and if you can indicate with the raise hand function that you see at the bottom of your screen, I'll give that a moment. Don't see any attendees that we don't recognize. Okay, so I see no one wishes to be heard. Mr. Riazzi, would you like to give a closing statement, or would you like to rest on what we've heard so far?
No, thank you for your time anyway. And then I hope we keep going. Thank you so much. Yes.
Mr. Riazzi.
Sure.
Mr. Tomasovic, your closing.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you for your attention and your questions. I think they were helpful as this moved along here. Giving Mr. Riazzi the benefit of the doubt was sort of the basis of my last question, which dealt with whether he has any skin in the game. And he has reimbursed and already put forth over $900 for that new permit application. And we can have some confidence that he has a financing application that's outstanding, and he has some alternate options if he needs to reorganize and seek financing by different means. But this is just critical to the question of whether he does have this good faith intention to follow through. If he gets a variance, the idea is that he would get a replacement machine and start working under that replacement machine, not because he's under a month-to-month lease, close up shop or anything else. So giving him the benefit of the doubt, as I say, we would not oppose the granting of a variance. We were thinking along similar lines to what was already floated in terms of the poundage limit for the close should be adjusted to reflect what he had admitted to, which is maybe as much as 10 pounds per week already this calendar year. And for fair footing with other petitioners, that should at least be reduced commensurate with what he's already done. But with that, as stated, subject to proposed conditions, subject to the adjustments, we don't oppose the granting of the variance. As to the termination date, this is a short variance, and so the outer boundary is something like April 20th. So a final date of compliance either set at March 28th as put in the petition, or that outer date would be acceptable to us, and that concludes my closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it a short? I thought it was, oh, it is a short. Okay. Oh, we had it on the agenda as a regular, but you're right. It is checked off as a short. Okay, well, that's good to know that we have an absolute limitation on how long we could grant it for. Board members, anyone wish to begin discussion of the 6 findings? And otherwise I can do that. Ms. Verdugo Peralta, would you like to begin?
I will attempt. In reference to the 6 findings, I believe that this petitioner has been forthright, has even gone so far as to bring proof of his financer here before us. He is in violation of Rule 1421 in reference to finding number 2, conditions beyond the reasonable control of the petitioner due to COVID, as well as availability of the machine. And it would result in arbitrary or unreasonable taking of the property, or the practical closing and elimination of a lawful business. I think that we can overcome that. Number 3, closing or taking would be without a corresponding benefit in reducing air contaminants. Number 4 being that the applicant for the variance has given consideration to curtailing. He's offered to reduce down to 750 pounds of the between now and the end of the variance. And let's see, I lost my place here. And the applicant for the variance has given consideration, as I said, curtailing operations in lieu of obtaining a variance. Or in number 5, the applicant will reduce the excess emissions to the maximum extent feasible. I believe that I can find proof of these findings and I am in favor of that, as long as he is going to go ahead and adhere to the limitations that we've discussed. And during the period of the variance, which will be in effect, that the applicant will monitor or otherwise quantify the emission levels from the source and report the emission levels to the district pursuant to a schedule that is established by the district. So I believe that we can make the 6 findings, and that he has been diligent in showing us that he can and will follow through on the purchase of this machine, and that he has every intention of wanting to continue his business. Even if the lease is month to month, I believe he will be able to show the owner of the property that he's going to be there, stay there with his business, and hopefully get that 5-year lease as well.
Thank you for that. I also agree that we can make the 6 findings, and in particular for the beyond reasonable control finding, not only has Mr. Riazi, with the help of Mr. Park, established a path to compliance moving forward, but also he's been able to establish that he did actually get the quote early in December and enter into an agreement by mid-December, and has, as Mr. Tomasovic mentioned in his closing and with his last question, has taken the steps to pay for and apply for a permit and receive it for the new machine, and also apply for credit with a plan that if he does not receive financing on his own, that he knows the path forward to receiving financing. So I think with all of that, I think he has shown good attempts for compliance and also beyond reasonable control to have to now wait for that machine. So I agree, and I think I want to hear from other board members, but also we should talk about what date we would want to go through. And we could do something similar to what we did in the last matter, which is to add a condition that the machine would be installed within 1 week of receiving the compliant machine. And we heard from Mr. Riazzi that he has a very large facility with a back door, and so that should not be a problem at all. Or we could give the later date. I don't know what board members feel about that or other findings. Anyone else wish to? Ms. Verdugo-Peralta, what do you think about that last part?
In reference to the date, as was discussed by Mr. Park, who stated that they could have it in by the end of March, the date of March 28th was discussed by the district. And if they think that they can get it in by that date, I think we should stay with that date.
I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Anyone else have any thoughts on the findings and or the date?
I
Okay,
have a problem with the date.
Senator Holton, yes.
It was stated, based on the questions that were asked, that the date may not be easily obtained for compliance. So if you're gonna take a hard and fast position on the date specified, which is March 28th this year, then they'd be out of compliance when that date comes, and they're not in operating with that machine. So I don't know how you would word it, but your target date, you can say, is March 28th. And you can say, in addition to that, that you can stipulate to, at a reasonable time thereafter, depending on when the machine could be delivered in-house, and specify the time to put it in operation once it's delivered. He has no control of the delivery date. And I say to lock him into that would not be within his control, number one. Number two, I'm pleased by the fact that going forward, we're coming up with a stipulated agreement, not forcing the cleaners to no matter what date they say they can perform or be in compliance. We've been saying you do it by end of January, which is a hardship that's not obtainable. And we've done that before. During those cases, I voted no.
Okay, I'm gonna stop us from talking about past cases, and I'm gonna just state the blanket statement that this board has always based its decisions in every case, including the dry cleaner cases, on the evidence that has been presented. But I hear your thought with regard to.
My argument has always been equal protection, equal consideration. You can't give one more benefit you give another.
And my answer to that has always been, we apply equally the 6 findings, and we collect evidence, and then the final decision is based on the evidence. And variances are not one size fits all, and it's always based on the quickest they can get it done. And that's the best we can do. And again, I'm just going to state blankly, because I don't want to get involved in this every time, that we do apply everything fairly and equally on this board.
I don't want to get involved with every time either, but nevertheless, they were saying they couldn't meet those deadlines. That's the reason why I made the reason.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I wanted just to say in response to that, what I heard was that they felt pretty confident based upon everything that they've seen for the 30 to 41 other machines that they've ordered during COVID. But that Mr. Park was unwilling to say 100% it would be done by March 28th. So if you were in favor of giving a little bit of a cushion, I understand that point, but I do think that the evidence showed that it's more likely than not that it would be March 28th.
Right. That's the only reason that I even chose that end of March, because they said that they were confident that they could do that. Otherwise, I would have gone out a little further if they said that they needed a couple of weeks further, but he stated end of March, so I'm going with that.
To make sure that they're not out of compliance, would you consider that alternative type of end date that we most recently adopted, which is a requirement to install the compliant machine within a week of receiving it, but allowing them till whatever the 3 months is, April 20th?
I would be in favor of that.
And that would take care of the issue that the senator has. Any other thoughts? Yes, Mr. Balagopalan.
Yes, I too can find, I think we can make the 6 findings to grant this variance. And as far as I think the date, I think Mr. Park repeatedly told us, he expects it to be installed by March 28th, but I'm okay with going until the end of the short variance period which is April 20th. Whichever comes sooner, if they can put it in sooner, that's fine. Or they reach the limit of the 800 pounds. So I'm okay with also going till the end of the variance, short variance period, which is April 20th, I believe.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I had to leave the frame for a moment. Any other thoughts? Senator Holton.
Yeah, I can support a stipulated agreement, and that's what this is. And I had announced early on that I would not vote for any of these arrangements. But what I really meant was that when they're not stipulated to, then I would take an opposite position. In this case, in the previous case, the petitioner and the district are working hand in hand to make sure they're in compliance to reduce the emission. And they're agreeing upon the approach they're taking. So in my opinion, I can vote for it.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know, Ms. Verdugo-Peralta, if you wanted to try and make a motion, but
Yes, I'd like to try.
I did notice that you had mentioned the 750 pound. I wonder if you would instead consider, just so that we put them on equal footing as others, instead to change the first condition, which has not cleaned more than 800 pounds of clothes in the dry cleaning unit. I would say for the time period from January 1st, 2021, through the duration of the variance. So that way we would include whatever they have already done as opposed to an arbitrary 50 pounds. And then for condition 2, and I can restate this if you want me to, where we have providing the records to the district to add a second sentence, which would say also that on January 23rd, which is this Saturday, 2021, petitioner shall also include records of daily pounds of clothes cleaned in the dry cleaning unit for the period of January 1st through January 20th. So that way they're doing it weekly, but to start, they're also letting us know, or letting the district know. And I could reread that.
Please.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm gonna stand back.
Okay, so in the matter of Beltone Cleaners, case number 6207-1, I move that we accept the short variance, and this would be Okay. That we accept the short variance. It would be commencing on January 1st,
No, 20th
20th, okay.
today.
January 20th, 2021, and continuing through April 20th. Is that what we're going with? April 20th, 2021. Okay, and this would be in reference to Rule 1421 of the Health and Safety Code, as well as the AQMD's rule, and the equipment, the perk piece of equipment. Let's see, the petitioner. Do I need to state the type of machine that it is?
It is their non-compliant perk dry
Okay.
cleaning machine.
This is, okay, and this is located at 25402 Crenshaw Boulevard in Torrance, area code, I'm sorry, zip code 90505. And that the conditions of the variance would be, and do I name them now? Those 5 conditions, or 6 actually?
If you would like me, yeah, and why don't you go ahead unless you would like me to add anything.
Okay, now, I had the 750 pounds that Mr. Gopalan had mentioned. Are we staying with the 750 or going?
Well, it's your motion, but if you would like, I can read in where instead of limiting it to 750, we would keep the limit of 800, but we would start that from January 1st. Is that
Okay, so
reference?
in reference to condition number 1, the petitioner not clean more than 800 pounds of clothes in the dry cleaning unit for the duration of the variance starting January 1st and going through April 20th?
Right, I would say for the time period from January 1st, 2021 through the duration of the variance. So that would,
Okay. And beginning on January 1st, is that correct on number 2? Or are we doing
number
the
2,
23rd?
number 2, we would leave as is, but my proposal, if you accept it, would be to add a second sentence, which would state on January 23rd, 2021, petitioner shall also include records of daily pounds of clothes cleaned in the dry cleaning unit for the period of January 1st through January 20th, 2021.
Okay. I accept that. Edit in there. Number 3, the petitioner shall pay all applicable fees to the clerk of the board within 30 days of notification in writing that the fees are due unless otherwise ordered by the hearing board. And number 4, the petitioner shall notify the clerk of the board at clerkofboard@aqmd.gov and South Coast AQMD via email. Attention, Mark Bandereau. And that email address is mbandereau@aqmd.gov in writing when the variance is no longer needed. Number 5, that the dry cleaner unit shall permanently discontinue operations at this variance and will end no later than April 20th. Sticking with that date, April 20th, 2021. And number 6, that we also add to the conditions that they will install the equipment within 1 week of receipt of the equipment.
So if I could put that into the language, petitioner shall install a 1421 compliant machine within 1 week of receiving the compliant machine at the dry cleaner's premises.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and if the district or petitioner, if they do not provide written conditions, these include the following 2 conditions. Are we following that part of it? I think we've already stated that, correct?
We have that in there. That should be enough. And then excess emissions are anticipated to be 0.22 pounds per day when the dry cleaner is used, when the dry cleaning machine is used, the perk machine. Is that correct?
Right, and which is 0.1 in a million cancer risk.
Incremental.
And the 1 year with, within the 10 gallons of perk, are we utilizing that sentence?
We don't need that. We need for excess emissions, just the 0.22 pounds per day.
Okay. Okay,
And that, does that complete
that
your?
concludes my motion.
I'm going to second the motion, and I'm going to ask, because I know that you did not want to extend to April 20th if the March 28th could be met. And so I'm going to ask if you would like to add, no, we already added that. If instead, when you went, sorry, when you noted the date of the variance, it should end either April 20th, 2021, or until final compliance with condition 6, which is the new condition you added, whichever occurs first.
Yes,
Agree to
yes,
that?
I would like to add that sentence.
Okay, thank you. That was the change. Board members, any other discussion on that motion? Okay. Senator Holden, how do you vote? Did you say aye?
He's muted.
You're muted.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Gopalin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Bernstein, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote yes. Ms. Verdugo Peralta, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all for really an discussion. And I want to make sure, so Ms. Verdugo Peralta did a great job of going over all the variance conditions. So I want to make sure that Mr. Riazi heard all of those and understands, because you may not receive the order, unfortunately, for a little while, because we're a little backlogged. And again, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Riazi, for
Thank you.
presenting everything we needed, and Mr. Park for coming today. And if we see you in the future, just have whoever is the dry cleaner is you're with, please make sure to introduce you again.
It was very helpful and answered a lot of questions and verified the information that we were looking at, so that we
Yes.
looked at it a whole different way.
Yes, thank you. You're welcome, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, just a couple of things. Okay, one I already told you. So we're done. You guys, you all can leave. We're done with the hearing, and good luck. Board members, we had a meeting yesterday. Yesterday, the clerk of the board and I had a meeting with Public Affairs with regard to the Chiquita Canyon matter. And you will recall that matter is coming back. We have a status and possible modification hearing, which was scheduled for March 11th or as soon thereafter as can be heard. And there was a discussion at that time of ensuring that we have that next hearing on an off time and date, so that members of the public would be able to be present. So that discussion yesterday was with regard to what date would be available. And the date that is available that evening of March 11th is not available because there is another meeting that date. I don't have it in front of me. Is it AB 617? There's a meeting. So there would be a conflict with that meeting. And so the Saturday of March 13th is the date that we are looking at. So I wanted to make sure to give board members as much advance notice as possible. Does anyone at this point know offhand that you have a conflict with that date? And if not, if so, then we would look for another date. But Saturday, and it would start at 9:00 a.m. So it would be similar to a hearing during the week, but instead we would have it on a Saturday when members of the public would be able to more easily join the Zoom hearing. Okay, so if I don't, if
That's Saturday, Saturday,
March
17th,
March 13th.
March 13th. Thank you.
So if you do have, please let us know, let the clerk know as soon as possible. If after, we get off the hearing today and we adjourn, you think you do have an actual conflict. Otherwise, that is the date we're going to try to go forward with. I think we've pretty much ruled out things going on at the district and with IT, but we want to make sure there's nothing going on, I think, still in the community. So we're still vetting that date, but as long as it continues to look good, that will be the date we will go with.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to also remind the members who voted no, I need your response for that minute order prior so that I can get it out. And one of the matters for tomorrow, the ACE cleaners, has been rescheduled to February 4th. So you only have the one matter, I believe it's Westwood cleaners tomorrow.
Thank you for that. Okay, great.
Also, I believe we got an email from Coast Plating saying they've conducted the source test and they're in compliance with those limits, so they won't be coming back.
Who was that?
Coast Plating, they were doing the chrome testing and they complied with the 0.0015
Excellent.
milligram per limit.
Excellent news. We also heard, just for all information, we heard from, I can't recall the name, the dry cleaner that we heard last week, I believe, who did not get the variance, but the suggestion was made that they move their hydrocarbon machine from their other premises to the one that they were seeking the variance from. And they immediately contacted the clerk right after the hearing and got that into motion. So that's good news too. All right, any other business, board members? Oh, and by the way, so the two members for the Chiquita Canyon, that was Cynthia, and also that was Mr. Ali, who was sitting in for the senator, just to make sure.
Again, to remind the senator, he's going to need to listen to or see the webcast so that he can be prepared for the hearing in March.
Senator, did you hear that? Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
It was before the board twice, I believe.
That's right. So the last hearing, you were not present.
I heard it before.
I'm sorry?
I heard one of the meetings I was at, I was in attendance.
That's correct, but you need to watch the webcast of the last hearing.
I'll do that.
Okay. Because that was where we adopted the stipulated order.
Also, I was going to say there was it was in the news and on TV. The AQMD had given an executive order to give a 10-day moratorium on crematories. Did you see that? Yeah.
I heard
It
that.
was, yeah, it was on national news too, and
I saw it.
What was that?
Crematoriums.
because they have a limit on how many units of bodies they can cremate a day or week. So that has been for 10 days, that limit has been removed.
Who gave the order?
What's that?
It would be I would assume it was the governing board.
The governing, no, it was the executive
order.
Oh, the executive.
Yeah, executive order, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for that. Any other business or things of interest?
Just that we have a lot of fugitive dust throughout the basin because of the winds. We drove yesterday from Temecula to Orange County, and it was like there's a word for it when you see the wall of dust. I can't remember the name, Masood or something like that. And it looked just like that. You were going into a wall of dust that was from on the 15 freeway, extending all the way through the Yorba Linda area. Just a wall of dust everywhere.
Scary.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people are suffering from that, allergies and respiratory ailments, because that's probably one of the worst I've seen, that cloud of dust, which you normally see in Phoenix. They show that on the news. So hopefully it's died down.
So be safe and careful, everyone.
Yeah, everybody.
All right. And
See you tomorrow.
yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. One with remember that Ace Cleaners has been rescheduled, so only the one. Okay.
Thank-
Have a good day,
All right.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Paul.